Hey everyone, welcome back to Psychonauts. Last time, we were stymied by a mental cobweb. And I had two solutions at hand, either grind to level 20 and 800 arrowheads, or cheat. I chose to do it the slow way. Give me a minute here.
You cheated!
There we go. These cheat codes are tough to get to work.
Got it!
Now, of course, there are plenty of effective and non-sequence breaking ways to fight the nightmare, but you can confuse it. And it just sort of sits there spinning around and lets you get in a lot of hits. I don't think I ever actually let it grab me, but if you get too close, it'll pull you underground and just do a full brain's worth of damage before it lets you go. Not really worth seeing, I don't think. I tried to get it to do it there, but I killed it too quickly. And when you defeat it, you get an astral projection layer back, which I kinda needed at this point, if you can't tell. No idea why. And then I just thought this was kinda funny.
Burn! Man, I hope no one notices all this fire.
Why, God?
This must be the Milkman's grave, but it's completely overgrown with vines. How am I gonna get in there?
Yeah. Vines.
Oh, boo.
I am a grieving widow.
I wish my loved one was. What were you doing in the cemetery? Are you a grieving widow? Where are your flowers? What did you find in the mausoleum? Who is the milkman?
Alright, moving on to the assassins now that I can actually get to them.
Poor Freddy. He was such a good secret agent. I mean, assassin. Who is shooting at us?
They're the last G-men I wasn't able to listen to before.
I am found on rooftops, in clock towers, and book depositories. Adjustments need to be made when firing in the wind. This is my gun. I am an assassin. My gun is clean. I do not kill out of passion, but for money. I like to shoot people. I am in charge of assassinating important figures. My motivations are clear only to myself. I am in charge of assassinating important figures. Sometimes I work for the government. I am found on rooftops, in clock towers, and book
I'm worried the other
depositories.
assassins are gonna make fun of me.
I didn't even know that one in the front
Assassin.
could be
There
shot.
seems to be someone shooting at us from that tower.
Now, someone mentioned hiding behind the G-men to advance, but it doesn't seem to work. And also, I forgot to do this.
Made when firing in the wind. Oh my God, why do I have a gun in my hand? I hope I didn't kill again. I should be out trying to find the milkman. Oh yeah, that's right. Disguise. I like to shoot people.
Alright, so let's give this hiding thing another try. It's possible that I was too close and got shot between the legs or something.
From that tower. I am in charge of.
But even if I'm careful and make sure that the laser is going right through the body of one of the other G-men,
Shooting at us from that tower.
I still get shot. Pretty sure you have to use the shield.
You're part of it. Stay away.
Yeah, Boyd's got a special line for if you leave his mind early. And here's another thing I just thought was kind of funny.
I am a
My
skilled phone
motivations are
repairer.
clear. Watch out, fellow assassin. There seems to be someone shooting at us from that tower.
Yes, I am the phone assassin.
Someday, the popularity of mobile phones will make my job obsolete.
But we're on our way to the Rainbow Squirt's house, where I used invisibility to get in before, but like I said, this level doesn't require invisibility, and there is another way to get in without having to use it. I just turned out to be really, really bad at it, and at figuring out the appropriate timing. It's really tricky to do, at least I think so. But your mileage will probably vary.
Coming!
Yeah, if you're visible from anywhere in front of the door when she opens it, she'll just duck right back inside.
Who is it? Hello? Are you right there?
And at exactly the time that you shoot,
Guy again.
your invisibility wears off and she goes back inside and you end up just shooting the door.
Hello? Just a minute! It better not be that creepy guy again.
Yeah, so it took me pretty much forever and I decided to just resort to invisibility. You gotta shoot her in the back as she's going back inside. That's really all it takes.
No milk for you!
As for fighting the Denmother, it's a heck of a lot easier than I made it out to be if you use your powers creatively. And not just throw the obvious explosive things back at her, which is slow, difficult, and doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Granted, you've got to wait until she lands when she jumps, but you can take her out very quickly with just Psy Blasts. And Confusion appears to have no effect on her whatsoever. Now at this point, it's really difficult to hit her because you can't target her properly.
This box is for busted hurt me breathing.
But you can run right up to her and punch her. And most of the stuff she's throwing will miss if you do.
No milk for you! How did you know where I was?
And you can see how much damage that's doing to her. She's almost finished, and the third punch will do it. So we can finally get into the asylum where the brains are kept. And I'm just going to grab the first one and go. Ooh, and there's a crow feather on the fountain.
Bacon.
I need to regroup back at HQ.
Affirmative. Prepare for extraction.
Now people wanted to see what happens if I throw the psycho portal at one of the kids. And of course we need a kid with a brain in his head in order to do that. And it's kind of a coincidence that it's JT.
Hey, want to help me save the world?
It's time to circle the wagons, partner. That's the best plan right now. I'm busy patrolling the homestead.
He doesn't appear to have a line for that, which is weird. But psycho portal time.
Darn.
We can't use it on anyone under the age of 18. So, that's that. And now, because I didn't really do it properly in the LP, let's take a look around inside Boyd's head, now that his Milkman problems have been resolved. He's a lot shinier in HD, I think. And yeah, those are actual sensors he can interact with. And he sets them on fire right away, but I can do some damage too. But there's no need to do that. Let's just head back to the parts of the level where the G-Men were, and see what happens now that they're gone. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a teleport worm at the end that could have taken me back to earlier parts of the level quickly. Or if there is, he's probably on this side of the wires. I did that so many times during this recording and I don't know why. But that time it looked like I might have been able to land back on the wires safely. So here we are, parking lot, no G-men, no yellow boundary, and no plumbers. But there is something cool that I gotta show you here. See, there's a ladder inside the sewer, and if you just climb down, then he goes to the next room straight away. But if you jump, you can actually grab the ladder and climb up and down a bit. And there is a second trigger to go to the next screen at the bottom of the ladder. So there's just one more thing worth doing here. Most of the areas you can quite easily imagine what they look like. But the G-men that were preventing me from entering this house are gone. And I no longer need the rolling pin to get the ammo upgrade. So if you really don't want to get all the disguise items, that's a different way to get all the upgrades.
Man, these... Yes.
So let's head back to the asylum. There's absolutely nothing new in Gloria's mind that I can think of. It's kind of neat that there's an extra crow feather here in case you didn't get the one at camp and you don't get the one at the fountain outside. They really want you to have that.
Look at him. Sad, isn't it?
Run over there and poke that guy with your gun knife thing.
He used to be just an average loon. Didn't embarrass himself so much. Behind you, General.
Weakling, shut up! You call yourself Bazin Bonaparte?
There may be more interesting dialogue, but I'm not too worried about missing some. I just want to confirm you can't use clairvoyance on the game pieces. So, having done that, we do still need to go inside Fred's head for a couple of things. But rather than worry about that right now, let's move on to something a little more interesting. I also missed a lot of stuff inside Edgar's head. And this one's fun. Now right off the bat, I was wondering whether the St. Bernard here might say something different after I've used the art.
Nice! Now I can get Edgar's cards.
See, now he's not trapped in the alley anymore. But he doesn't say anything new.
I'm on.
Well, see ya. Keep off the street now. Well, see ya. Keep off the street now.
I think I've heard that already. I'm mostly keeping this part in just because something important happens. I've finally reached the rank where I can get pyrokinesis for real. Speaking of earning powers, while I'm on the street here, for whatever reason, I can't use confusion even though I've got the cheat code active. It'll be restored whenever I go into one of the wrestling rings, but for right now it's gone. And yes, El Odio just completely plastered that giant sensor. It's another effective fighting technique if you don't want to take out these guys hand-to-hand or with any of your psi powers. Just lure them into the street when El Odio is going past. But I've got a different destination in mind at the moment. And I don't want to mess with these guys. So, about the worst possible timing for a jump. But that's okay, because now all the sensors are going to die. And we can get back to the first wrestling ring where we have to deal with Tiger. I'm pretty sure I used all the psychic powers on him, but I didn't hear what the announcer would say if I let myself get hit with his special move. So, that's something I want to do. And also, I don't know whether there's a special message for shooting him a bunch of times, since it's ineffective. You know, either he or the announcer would probably say that my Psy Blast isn't going to be effective. I shot him a whole bunch of times and nobody said anything. So I guess they meant you're supposed to figure it out just by watching the beams bounce off the belt buckle and not do anything. And he can be confused, but it doesn't actually do anything interesting. He's just kind of stunned. Now the neat thing is, when he does that charge, you can punch him right out of it. But here's his special move. One of the easiest ones to deal with. But let's pretend that I can't figure out any way to get out of the way.
Avoiding the tiger pounce requires some serious tumbling skills.
There are so many ways that you can avoid the tiger pounce. But then I wonder, do I even need to avoid it? I mean, I've still got just a little more health than he has, I think. And he'll only do the tiger pounce at specific health levels.
Avoiding the tiger pounce requires some serious tumbling skills.
And even taking a bunch of other hits, it's not too hard to beat him. So we'll move on to Dragon. I didn't use invisibility on him before either.
Is this some kind of trick?
So, not much of a reaction, really.
Is this some kind of trick?
So let's see what the announcer says if I can't figure out a way to deal with his special move. I don't think I ever saw his melee combo before. Got a burst of fire at the end that's kind of neat. So if you don't block or dodge his roar, then he just jumps over and attacks you. And of course you're completely stunned.
Unless that kid can fly, he'll never beat the dragon roar.
So yeah, the intended solution, I think, is to levitate over it. Be off the ground so it doesn't affect you. But like I showed in the LP, the shield will block all of their special moves. And all of their regular moves. And pretty much everything. Kind of looking forward to seeing what sorts of new powers they come up with for Psychonauts 2, which, as of this recording, has been funded.
He'll never beat the dragon roar.
But it's still going to be a couple years before it comes out, so don't expect an LP anytime soon. Now from there, in the LP, it was a pretty long trip to get to the portrait for Eagle. But of course, you can do it a lot faster. First, we'll take the high road so we can avoid El Odio. Bit further up the street. And then we gotta swing on those tight ropes. No idea what the colored tight ropes are even for. But that one's not high enough, and you can't levitate over El Odio. Even if you're well above a place where it would be safe to stand, just the fact that you're levitating, he'll grab you. Otherwise, I think this level would be way too easy. So, you can go through the sewers to get to the far side, but I speculated in the LP it should be possible just to make a run for it. And if you don't bother with levitation, you can make it. So I didn't use invisibility on Eagle before, and that's pretty much the only thing I didn't do. This is where I started showing off the hints that the announcer gives if you don't dodge their special moves. And here's an interesting way to dodge his move. Just turn invisible, and he won't know where to land. I suspect that'd work for Tiger as well, but I didn't think of it until this point. And again, I'm pretty sure you could beat him and get pounced on all 4 times. But why bother? There's not a whole lot else of interest here, but we're almost done. And it's kind of fun to play around, especially with someone like Eagle. And just to make sure, let's try it one time without invisibility so he can see me. Even if you're pretty far away from the shadow, he'll still grab you. But we're done here.
You look pretty jumpy.
And there's absolutely nothing new to do with Cobra. Because by the time we fight him, we do legitimately get confusion. I wouldn't be talking to the Matador at all, since I don't need his help to get confusion. But I do want to make the Bulldog paint the billboard.
Ah, you must be the towel boy.
And he just won't do that unless the Matador has told me that he wants that done.
Hey, we really gotta get that billboard paint.
So I didn't remember how many times I needed to talk to him, and I accidentally sent him running before I was ready. Fortunately, I managed to make the grenade land for once. Now let's confuse this guy while he's painting.
Man, I can't take anymore. Why don't you confuse something else?
It just makes him start over, even though the whole painting is already done.
Man, I can't take anymore. Why don't you confuse something else?
And I think he would have had time to finish it if I hadn't confused him again. But Elodio's gonna recover before he's done there. And unfortunately, I'm out of grenades to try again.
No, the painting's ruined.
Well, I don't need that upgrade anyway. So, something kind of interesting happens if you bring Edgar all 4 cards at once.
I got some cards for you, Edgar.
Ah, that is exactly the card I need.
This one was a real pain in the butt to get.
Perfect. One step closer to her.
Since you don't leave the screen, he doesn't move between building each section of the tower.
I hope these things are worth it, Edgar.
Ah, that is exactly the card I need.
Here you
And
go,
it's
Edgar.
kind of a
The
weird
last
perspective, especially this last one.
Said you would get them and you did. Not everyone is as true to their word, you know.
Well, now you can finish your tower.
Yes. Now this can all end once and for all.
And he kind of builds the top of the tower right off the screen. And there's nothing much of interest in the
Looks
El
like you can
Odio
walk right
fight,
up there
so
now, Edgar.
I'll leave it here for now, and next time we'll finish the rest of the game. See you then.